Mr. Morrison was the owner of a small company. Only 4 people worked there. One day, he came to the office and didn't find his favorite slippers. He always put them on while working. The man searched everywhere and finally spotted them on the roof of the building. Mr. Morrison was furious. He entered the office and started to question his employees. Daniel said, "I don't even know where you keep your slippers." Andrew said, "I'm terrified of heights. I have never climbed up there." Sandra said, "I'm wearing high heels today. I can hardly walk in them." Emily said, "I respect you too much to do it to you." One of the employees is lying. Who is it? It's Andrew. He said he was afraid of heights. But on his table, there's a photo in which he's skydiving with a parachute. Uh-oh. Melissa's boyfriend proposed to her and presented a beautiful diamond ring. The girl was afraid of losing it. That's why she kept it in a box on her vanity table. Once, after a long and difficult working day, the girl came home and went straight to bed. When she woke up, the ring was gone. Melissa called the police. They asked 3 suspects, Melissa's roommate, her best friend, and her neighbor, what they had been doing the night before. Helen, Melissa's roommate for the last 3 years, said Melissa had indeed looked very tired. She took the tea Helen made for her and went to her room at 10 p.m. Helen went to bed shortly after. Eric, Melissa's best friend, said he had come to visit Melissa at about 11:30 p.m. The girl was already sleeping, but he saw a jewelry box lying open on the table. It was empty. Eric was surprised and left immediately after that. Brenda, the neighbor, said she wanted to borrow a book from Melissa, but when she called her, the girl didn't answer. So Brenda decided not to bother her so late at night. The police soon realized one of these people was lying. Who was it? It was Eric. He was only asked what he had been doing the evening before, but he mentioned the jewelry box. He must have known the ring was missing because he took it. A group of friends went camping. They found a beautiful place in the forest near the river. They were planning to spend a week there, but on the 3rd day, Chris disappeared. The rest of the group gathered near a campfire to figure out where he could be. Paul said, "We didn't have enough firewood. I went deeper into the forest to get some. When I came back, Chris was already gone." Ashley said, "I was near the river washing my t-shirt. I stained it with ketchup during lunch." Nancy said, "I felt unwell, so I decided to take a nap. I was sleeping when an owl woke me up." One of the young people is lying. Do you know who it is? It's Nancy. Owls sleep during the day. It means an owl couldn't have woken the girl. Someone started a gas leak in Mark's apartment. Luckily, the man noticed it. He called the police. After searching the place, they found a watch. Mark claimed it wasn't his. The detective decided to set up an ambush. The watch looked expensive. Surely the criminal would return to get it back. At around midnight, they heard the key turn in the door lock. In a while, a man came in. He was holding a lit candle in his hands. At first, the detective wanted to arrest the man, but after a while, he realized it wasn't the person they had been waiting for. How did he figure it out? Whatever the man was doing in Mark's apartment, he wasn't the one responsible for the gas leak. That criminal wouldn't have entered the apartment holding a burning candle. They would be sure the place was still full of gas. The police found out one particular gang was going to rob a bank. An undercover agent was sent to the restaurant where the criminals always gathered in the evening. His task was to attach a tiny GPS tracker to one of the gang members. Then the police would know about their location and would be able to prevent the robbery. The leader of the gang was the mastermind of the group. All other members were just muscle. The undercover officer had to be very attentive around the leader. The man could easily spot the device, but no other gang member would notice it. Where should the agent place the tracker? On the gang leader's backpack. He's the only person who can spot the device, but not if it's on his own back. Police got a call from the house of a wealthy man. He didn't come home after going for a jog. When several police officers arrived, they questioned all the people in the house. They were the maid, the millionaire's wife, and his driver. The maid said, "When Mr. Jones went for a jog, he asked me to prepare his breakfast. I immediately got down to work. But it's been 3 hours and he hasn't returned yet." The wife was worried too. "I saw him in the morning, but he was in a hurry. We just greeted each other and I went to work." The driver told the police he had been waiting for his boss in the car, scrolling through his social media. Who knows something about the millionaire's disappearance? The maid is lying. If she had cut the apples for breakfast 3 hours ago, they would have already turned brown by now. Shirley got a new job as a sales assistant. She was extremely happy to receive her first salary. She went out for a walk in the park and decided to treat herself to some ice cream. She pulled out cash, but a powerful gust of wind has blown the money out of her hands. The girl managed to pick it up, but then she realized one $10 bill was missing. Shirley looked around. One of these people must have taken the bill. Can you figure out who it was? It's the man in the red baseball cap. The bill is under his right foot. Detective Larson was walking along the street. Suddenly, he saw a man grab an elderly woman's bag and run away. The detective immediately rushed after the criminal, but the man disappeared behind the kitchen door of a small restaurant. When Detective Larson entered, he saw 3 cooks preparing food. Which cook is fake? It's the man holding the salad bowl. He's the only one not wearing gloves. People began to disappear in a large town. 1 month after it started, the police came across an abandoned house. In its basement, they found 2 men. Each of them claimed that he had been locked up there and that the other man was the one to keep him in the basement. But it was clear that only one of them was telling the truth. Look at these men attentively and say who's the liar. It's the man who's smiling. If he had spent 4 weeks locked up, he would have a beard and mustache by now. But he's clean shaven. Rachel Brown, the owner of a large and successful company, has disappeared right from her office. The police suspect that some of her subordinates might know where the woman is. They question 3 people. Ruth, the HR manager, is the first to enter. "We were going to fire an employee that day. I came to get Miss Brown's signature." Adam, the accountant, says, "I indeed came to her office. She had to approve the company's budget for the next year." Anne, the secretary, comes in last. "I saw Miss Brown today, but only for a minute or so. I asked her to sign my leave request." The police officers immediately realize who is lying. Can you figure it out too? Anne is lying. The signature on her documents is different from the others. Plus, she is the person Ruth was going to fire that day. Martin bought a car in September, and now, just a month later, it's stolen. The police have 4 suspects, and all of them are Martin's friends. The crime happened at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. At that time, Alan was playing badminton in the park. Natalie was driving home from work. Roy was walking with his dog, and Rose was doing some grocery shopping. Who took Martin's car? It was Alan. At 10 p.m. in October, it's too dark to play badminton. So, you're on a desert island and you're starving. You find a bush filled with berries. You eat a few, but start to feel sick. A local, "Hey, I thought this was uninhabited." They tell you that eating watermelons and grapes will get rid of the poison, but apples and carrots will make things worse. In front of you there are tomatoes, cabbages, oranges. Which one do you eat? Tomatoes! Like watermelons and grapes, they also grow on vines, unlike the rest. You're lost in the desert with just one bottle of water, but you don't know where the nearest water source is. What do? Cover yourself with your backpack to avoid sweating? Walk as quickly as you can to find water? Find shade and rest. The best option is the last one. When it gets dark, you can walk further and find help. While sightseeing in a town, a volcano erupts nearby. There's no lava coming out, just thick black smoke. You see 3 potential routes to safety. Which one do you take? A tall lighthouse is a few feet away, a basement, a car in front of you. Go to the basement and close the door behind you. Lava smoke travels fast, and it can reach the tallest point of the lighthouse. It's 3 p.m., and while walking in the middle of a desert, you come across a tall tower with a crazy scientist living there. He tells you that if you want to make it out alive, you must calculate the height of his tower. What do you use? Fallen tree branches? Your shadow? Your watch? Your shadow. Since you know how tall you are, you can calculate how many times your shadow fits into the tower shadow. You're at a water park, and you've been taken captive by a supervillain. He takes you to the highest point of the park and shows you 3 slides: an orange one, a green one, and a yellow one. One leads to a pool filled with acid, one to a tropical paradise, and the other to a volcano filled with lava. The supervillain tells you, in a parallel world, the purple slide leads to freedom. Which one do you choose? The yellow slide. Yellow is the opposite of purple. You're on a trip into the wild. A huge angry elephant has spotted you, and it's running towards you. What do? Run down a steep slope leading to a river. Climb up a tall tree right next to you. Run straight towards some other animals, hoping it'll lose sight of you. Run down the steep slope. Elephants avoid areas with high elevation to stop themselves being injured. During a camping trip, you realize you have no water. But you're very thirsty. There are 3 ways to get water. Which one is the least dangerous? Harvest some from a cactus. Drink the water from a stagnant lake. Take some water from a flowing river. Cactus water isn't the safest, and a stagnant lake is filled with bacteria and parasites. The least dangerous option is the flowing river. You've been stuck in the wild for days, and you have no idea which way leads to civilization. Which sign do you follow? A plane passing overhead? A flowing river? A group of animals? Your best bet is the river. Since the beginning of time, people have built villages along riverbanks. A mysterious biologist invites you to his home for dinner. He takes you down to the basement and puts 3 plates of weird items on the table. One has wild white mushrooms with white gills. The second is filled with castor beans. The third has some fish brains. Which one is safe to eat? The plate of fish brains is the only dish that isn't poisonous. But the dinner isn't over yet. You're taken into a room with 3 large tanks filled with salt water. You must stay in one of them for 5 minutes. The biologist promises to set you free if you make it out alive. The first contains 6 great white sharks. The second has 70 piranhas. The last one is filled with dangerous box jellyfish. Which could you survive in? In the second tank, piranhas are freshwater fish. They can't survive in salt water. You're leading an expedition to the North Pole. As you're sailing there, a huge chunk of ice falls into the water, causing a large wave to come your way. What do you tell your crew to do? Stop the ship and stay until the wave passes? Start moving in the opposite direction. Keep going and lean into the wave as it hits. Leaning into the wave is the only way to get some balance. Anything else will cause your ship to capsize. You're stuck in a room that's slowly filling up with water. Help is 6 minutes away. The water will reach the ceiling in just 2 minutes. But on the floor, there's a tree branch, a straw, a bucket. Which one will buy you some time? The bucket. Flip it over your head and it'll create an air bubble that will allow you to breathe for a while. While out camping, you come across an angry brown bear that's coming closer and closer to you. What should you do? Start running as fast as you can. Fall to the ground and pretend you're unconscious. Stay still and don't move. Fall to the ground. That way the bear won't see you as a threat. Oliver is trapped in the freezing north. David is lost in the desert without any clothes. Who will collapse first? David. The cold weather makes Oliver shiver. His muscles tighten and loosen very fast to keep him warm. But David quickly becomes dehydrated in the sun. While walking through a dense jungle, you get bitten on the leg by a venomous snake. How can you survive? By drawing the venom out with your mouth, washing the wound with water and a cloth, by tying your leg with a piece of your shirt. Tying your leg will prevent the venom from reaching the rest of your body. As you're driving down the road, you come across a fallen tree blocking your way. You get out of the car and try to move it, but then you see a huge tornado coming towards you. Boy, it's not your day. How will you survive? Get back in your car and drive fast in the opposite direction. Climb up the sturdiest tree. Find a ditch on the ground and stay there until the tornado passes. The last one. If the tornado passes over you, it won't sweep you up. You walk into a room, and right when you close the door, it catches fire. There's no way out, but firefighters are on their way. How will you buy yourself some time until help arrives? By lying flat on the floor, by climbing onto a chair to avoid the flames, by standing in the corner of the room. It's the first option. Smoke travels upwards toward the ceiling, so lying flat on the floor will help you to breathe. You're trapped in a maze inside an abandoned castle. You can pick only one door to stay alive. The first one leads to a room filled with sharp blades and knives. The second has dozens of venomous snakes and spiders. Behind the third door, there's an electrified moat. Which one do you pick? The last door. Since this is an abandoned castle, you can flip the light switch to check if it has electricity and then go through there. A creepy professor has taken you to his secret island. He wants to see how smart you are. He presents you with, guess what? 3 doors, but only one is safe. The first one leads to 5 of the most dangerous people on Earth. The second leads to a room with a powerful laser and mirrors on the wall. The third leads to a lab filled with radioactive waste. Which is the least dangerous option? The first door. It'll be easier to deceive the people there into letting you walk free. You're lost in an ancient cave system, and you come across 3 tunnels. You must swim through them to the exit. The first is filled with lava. The second has stagnant water containing bacteria and parasites. The third contains cornstarch mixed with water. Which one is the least dangerous to go through? Stagnant water is your best option. Lava will burn you, and cornstarch water will swallow you in just a few minutes. Good luck! Charlotte and Elizabeth are doing some homework. Charlotte is going to iron some clothes, and Elizabeth is about to cook. Who's not being smart? Elizabeth. Charlotte's safe because the iron is turned off. Lucas and Liam are going on a field trip with their kids. Lucas is distracted while his daughter is climbing a tree. Liam is talking to another parent while his son is petting a dog. Who is wrong? Lucas. The branch his daughter is climbing is cracking, and she is about to fall. Ava and Olivia are finally leaving home for their first night out after maternity leave. Ava decides to walk, and Olivia is waiting for a taxi. Who is not ready? Olivia. She forgot to finish her makeup. Michael and Logan are bloggers who take selfies in dangerous places. This time, Michael is taking a selfie while surfing on a huge wave, and Logan is taking one standing on the edge of a bridge. Who is not smart? Michael. In Logan's case, at least there are people around who can call emergency services if something goes wrong. Michael is alone. It's early morning. Ian and Nolan are driving their kids to school.